up, nerds? Welcome to episode 11 of The Bandwagon Fan. This is the show where we talk about all things pop culture, what we're into right now.
I'm Alex.
I'm AJ.
And I'm Josh.
And we're joined with our producer, Kate.
Hi.
Hey, what up, Kate?
Hey, what
this
up?
week, we're talking about current events and whatnot from the past couple weeks. Last week, if you listened to our episode, we did one of our first, of hopefully many, spotlight episodes about Saga. So if you didn't listen to that, please go back. That's episode 10. This week, we're just going to talk about current events, probably crack some jokes, say weird things. But first, I have to ask, how's everyone's week been, huh?
It's been all right. I'm over in Chicago, and the weather has really sucked the past week with lots of snow and melting and freezing. I definitely got stuck at a intersection in Logan Square, like in a residential area, and I had to get pulled out by a AAA truck. So that sucked.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Josh had an actually very scary experience driving in the snow. You want to tell them this, Josh?
I totaled my car coming back from college to visit for the winter break. Yeah. That's a very long, complicated story, actually.
Yeah, it is.
For another time.
It is. Another time. But
it sounds scary.
I'm grateful. Yeah, I was grateful that Josh was okay. But after the relief that Josh was okay, we were all lamenting in that sweet, sweet car. Man, we missed that car.
Yeah.
That was a nice car.
R.I.P.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Mercury was in retrograde actually the last 3 weeks. So if your weeks felt
off.
What
does that mean?
Mercury in retrograde, it happens 4 times a year. It's when the planet, I think, appears to look as if it's moving in the opposite direction. It's like an optical illusion thing, but in astrology and the cosmic world, it's considered to be a season of confusion. Life feels off. Everything feels off kilter. You don't feel like yourself. You're more prone to making wrong decisions. Or the 3 main things that it affects are communication, travel, and technology. So if you felt like any of those things were off in your life in the last 3 weeks,
there it is.
And it ended on February 3rd. So 3 days ago.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, now that you mention it, I can use my favorite joke about astrology. That my sign is Tyrannosaurus Rex.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm sorry.
Does everybody know their signs?
Yeah.
What's your sign, Alex?
Pisces. I'm a fish man.
I'm a fish.
A fish man? What,
I don't know.
Do you know your sign, Kate?
Oh yeah, I'm a Libra, so I'm hella indecisive and I don't know, kind of superficial maybe, but
superficial.
Superficial.
Get it? I had to. Sorry, I had to.
Dad jokes.
I feel like everything I see online about Libras is that they're always like taking selfies and care about going to cool parties, and they don't seem very deep, but I think I'm deep.
Yeah. Do you care about going to cool parties?
No, not really. Only if they're really cool.
I think that's what I am, Libra, but that definitely is not me.
When's your birthday?
No, not
September 25th.
Yeah, you're Libra. You're like at the beginning of it.
I hate parties. Like that's like when he's like, "We got to go to parties." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good."
Also, I feel like you're pretty decisive.
I don't take selfies.
Josh is probably the most decisive person I've ever met.
You need to do the thing where you look at what your sun sign, moon sign, and rising sign are. I know. I'm sorry. I'm getting so into it.
There's a lot
of things matter because you might have been born with your sun in Libra, but you could.
So can you guess? Can you guess what I am then?
Okay, AJ. I'm gonna guess. AJ, are you born in the summer?
That's scary. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
Are you? I'm wondering. I'm thinking. Were you born in August?
No.
July.
Closer.
So June.
Yeah. I'm Cancer.
Oh,
I'm a crab person. I don't know what that means.
A crab person.
But, it's the sign. I think the star sign is a crab. So I just tell people I'm a crab person. They look at me like I'm very weird.
So I'm a fish person.
You're a fish guy. You're a merman. I'm a crab man. See,
so,
we're both alike.
Wait,
that's how I know our signs.
Josh and I both are the scales. So
is that what that is?
The scales, like
weighing
scale for
stuff.
weighing things, but it works because fish have scales. Oh my God.
The next
Oh
bad
my
joke
goodness.
came in.
Wait,
Thank you,
hold
guys.
on. So, Kate and Alex, are your signs compatible?
Oh,
I have looked into it. I think so. I think we're
you did some. What was that? I don't know. You showed me some app. I forgot what it's called.
Oh yeah, there's an app called CoStar, and
It's
I think
confusing.
we're like 80% compatible. So
that's good. That's good. So I have a question for you guys. Do you guys know how to pronounce Rihanna's name?
not the way you said it.
I guess I thought it was Rihanna, but now I'm assuming it's wrong.
It's Rihanna.
No, it is Rihanna. Yes,
Really?
it is.
What?
Yes, she says it herself. That's we pronounce it Rihanna.
I did not know for the longest time she had an accent.
Yeah, I mean,
and then I heard it, I was like, why?
When she
why
was
are you perfect?
younger, the accent was a little bit more prevalent. I don't know if moving to the States kind of washed it out a little bit, but that's what happens. I mean, she's been singing since she was like 16, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, right.
She was really young. I bring her up only because she has announced that she's with child with none other than ASAP Rocky, which I think is awesome. Brooklyn's finest, Pretty Boy Flacco.
Also, my favorite of the ASAP gang. I mean, I do love Ferg, but I don't know.
Probably the most prevalent of yeah. I only bring it up because I thought it was funny because, as you guys know, Drake and Rihanna, they used to date. They used to go together. I guess their signs weren't compatible, and because of that, Drake. I think Drake has written a fair amount of songs about their relationship. Over time or whatever. And so I'm assuming that the Twitter mafia, the Twitter trolls at this announcement spammed his inbox on both Twitter and Instagram because he blocked Rihanna and ASAP Rocky on Instagram.
What?
He blocked them. Yeah. And so
that's wild.
That's great.
My assumption is basically probably not because of the news, because that would just be ultra bitter. That wouldn't make any sense. I mean, maybe he still loves her. I don't know. We don't know what went down with the relationship. My assumption, based on like Rihanna's music and Drake's music, is basically like I think Drake just couldn't commit to her. That's my theory. And she wanted something a little bit more real, So. Yeah, good for her.
And they're both into fashion, like very into fashion.
Very into fashion.
Rocky's
yes, I mean,
killing it.
My wife and I always say that we'll probably never hear another Rihanna album because she doesn't need the money. She is making so much money from her makeup line. It is bananas.
And her lingerie line.
Yeah, and Savage.
Right.
Yes, and her
she is a savvy businesswoman.
Oh, yeah.
Her last album, I love that album so
Me too.
much.
Great.
Me too. I'm sad.
Yeah, Anti.
Yeah,
I'm sad that we may never hear another one, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with that. And everyone's making memes about ASAP basically becoming like, he's hitting the lotto. It's like getting Oprah pregnant. It's just like,
oh my gosh,
it's amazing. I mean, he doesn't have to do anything.
Yet.
What'd you say?
I said, how come no one's done that yet?
Many have tried.
I bet many have tried.
Many have probably tried.
Many, it's like what is it? The Thunderdome? Two enter, one leaves. Like, yeah, many have tried. None have succeeded.
Does anyone else know who is featured in the Rihanna and ASAP Rocky drama?
I think you brought it up, but I don't remember.
Yeah, so Cameron, he's been posting. I mean, this is like been a joke, and he's been posting all over Instagram. So a couple days before the announcement that they were pregnant, ASAP Rocky was promoting on Instagram this sex supplement that Cameron apparently makes and sells.
I remember this.
And, I forgot what it's called, but like Cameron was bragging that he got them pregnant. It wouldn't have happened without his sex supplement.
What a way to try to stay relevant.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. Now, for our younger audience, I mean, I looked at the metrics, and our audience is basically like, I think like 25 to 35, which is great. That's our target audience. But I don't know if a lot of people remember Cameron. I'm just going to tell you right now. Cameron walked so that people like young, like people like Young Thug, people like Gunna, all these, the Migos, all these rappers that are into fashion, like things like type clothes or whatever. Let me tell you, that came from the Godfather Cameron. Because in an era where guys were wearing like ultra baggy clothes and big chains, Cameron infamously shot a music video with a giant pink fur coat and a pink polo. Okay, changed the game. It wasn't seen before, and you know what? Honestly, I mean, no one has matched that drip since. So.
And like, Hey Ma is such a jam. Like, I love that.
Oh my gosh!
Speaking of it, his supplement, I looked it up. It's called Pink Horsepower for
yeah, that sounds about right. Okay. That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Yeah.
Did you guys know that one more rapper weighed in on the drama?
Who?
No.
Rick Ross.
Rick Ross.
Oh no!
He literally just commented Wingstop because he owns Wingstop.
Yeah, he owns a lot of Wingstops.
he's like, I'm gonna get my promo in this. I'm gonna get my promo on this post.
He's like, it happened at a Wingstop. That's what he's gonna put out.
Oh, jeez, dude,
it's that magical sauce.
Funny. It's that sauce, that secret sauce. It's that pink horse.
Oh, don't talk to Drake about secret sauces and hot sauces.
Oh no! Oh my goodness!
Too soon.
What a callback! That's a deep cut. I like that.
That was good.
Yeah. What else happened, guys?
The first trailer for the Halo series, like full actual trailer, dropped. I'm curious. Did any of you guys see it? AJ saw it.
I did not.
Alex, you can leave now. Thanks.
All right.
Bye, Alex.
Oh, he left. He actually left.
Oh, he's down the stairs. He's in
he
his
threw
car.
his headphones.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Yeah, what'd you think about it?
Wow, this is awkward. Hopefully, Alex comes back. I'm hopeful. Like, I'm skeptical, but hopeful. But the thing I want to talk about, and it cracks me up. I was like, this is so like the internet for this to have happened. Mm-hmm. Is the reaction to Cortana?
I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
I'm back just to talk about Cortana.
I really. So essentially what happened, for those who like Alex may not have seen it, they revealed that Cortana is a part of this. They didn't reveal what timeline this is, right? Like what point?
I think they're making their own timeline because humans are aware of what the Halo rings are.
Okay. So I don't think they've made it specifically clear where this is. My assumption is that because Cortana, let me back up. Cortana in the trailer it has a physical appearance, basically. So, and they actually got the voice actress, and I think the model, the actual like one of the OG models for Cortana.
I thought
if
it was
I'm not
the same.
Mistaken.
Like, is it the same person? Like that did the voice?
I don't remember. I
heard the same thing though.
I think if you guys know, correct me. But I think she also did the model and the voice actress for Cortana. She's in
like for the original form. Halo games.
Yeah, for the OG original, like it's her in her original form. So like she's not a hologram. She's not an AI. It appears that she's a person. Now my theory is that
what?
Yes, but my theory is that she's still a program. It's not I don't think it's a physical person. I think it's just a hologram.
No, it looked like a hologram.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's a hologram. People are upset about it because it's not blue Cortana, but I don't think. I think it's going to be. I think there is going to be some type of plot why you saw that.
Oh, okay.
Personally, that's my personal. I think it's going to be related to something really specific in the story.
Which, like I said, it feels like they're going off script because the way she meets him and the way they talk about the Halo rings, it seems very different from how it plays out in the actual games.
In the actual games, so
this could be a good or a bad thing. I
feel like I'm pretty neutral with it right now. Like, have fans been bothered by it? Is that like one of the reactions?
It's the internet, man. People get offended.
You have a bunch of grown men.
It doesn't seem like something worth getting angry over. I don't know. It's just
exactly like I keep saying this. Like, you're a stranger on the internet. Like, I don't really care. You probably wouldn't say this to my face.
Well,
like,
you know what? Someone's gonna get mad at me for saying this, but Cortana has always been an afterthought to me when I play Halo.
That's dangerous. You're gonna
get the last one. The last
out
couple?
Of all the things we've said,
I haven't played the last couple. I've only played up to 3.
Out of all the things we said, including like insinuating someone tried to impregnate Oprah, that's going to get us canceled.
I mean,
out of all the things,
she's not even a person,
there.
guys.
Oh my goodness! Oh,
Oh geez.
no.
Oh geez.
Oh my gosh. It's over, dude. The
Yeah.
show's canceled.
GG.
Someone come at me.
But no, real talk. Like, I love Halo. Like, that was a huge part of growing up for me. I read the books and all that stuff.
Oh,
but
same.
oddly enough, like, I don't really care how this project goes. Like, I want it to be good, but if it's not, like, I'm not going to be heartbroken about it.
There's just
Weirdly
so much
enough-
TV right now. That's why it hasn't bothered me.
Yeah,
I
we
think
live
that's
in an
it.
era where there's more TV than ever before.
It would have been
But
different
weirdly
if this
enough-
came out 10 years ago, you know?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's 100%.
yeah. Yeah, but strangely enough, I think this may work only because there's not really anything like that. Like,
Yeah.
I've always said that if you look like historically, and before we move on, I'm just going to throw this in there. Historically, in Hollywood, they look out for the next thing to pimp, right? If Hollywood is a pimp, then IPs are their hoes, and like they look for something else to pimp out, right? Like, think of like the Fred Astaire days. Everyone's like, we need more musicals, right? And then Steven Spielberg made Jurassic Park. They're like, we need more trilogies. And then Marvel makes this giant serialized movies out of comic books. So like, we need more comic book movies. Video games are the next thing to get pimped out, man. I'm just saying. In the next 3 years alone, we're getting like a Sonic movie, we're getting Mario movie, we're getting Halo TV series, Last of Us TV show,
a Mario movie that's already like massively miscasted to me.
Yeah. So it's the next thing to get pimped out in Hollywood. That's what it is. So you expect to see some like super deep cuts, like Worms the movie. That's gonna happen.
What about Earthworm Jim? That's what I want.
Oh, Earthworm Jim. Oh, how about this? We're gonna get. You know what? Let's put money on this. I'm betting $10 in the next, let's say, 6 years, that we are gonna get a Conker's Bad Fur Day TV show.
I was literally just about to say that. I swear, I was just about to say that because it's like a rival to Halo.
You're gonna have people being like going through like, I don't know, a GameStop in their back closet, be like, quick. Can we make a FIFA TV show? They're gonna be like, you mean soccer? They're like, no.
Say what you say. Conker is like a Adult Swim animated comedy. Like, could actually work.
Don't get me wrong, Conker could work, but the point is, video games are next. That's all I'm saying.
Let's pitch Conker.
That's fair. Hollywood is unoriginal. They're afraid to take risks. We talked about this before.
Yeah,
the whole Michael B. Jordan is like the only black person that they know.
It is. He's one of two.
Yeah.
and like, go ahead.
Any Latino is going to be typically cast as like a gangster.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
Michael Pena. There you go. There's the two. That's all they need. That's all you need. Yeah.
Kate, what were you saying?
My theory, because I like AJ's pimp theory. I'm thinking the next thing, you guys can tell me what you think of this, is what if board games, they made movies after board games? Like Settlers of Catan.
Like a trilogy on Catan.
Okay.
They did
It's
Clue.
funny you say that. It's funny you say this. And this will be the last thing before we move on. But like, Danielle and I, we like playing board games. In fact, we're playing board games like in the middle of us recording. But I noticed that there are a lot of board games on sale now, like more than when I was a kid. And it's at the point where I'm like, this is kind of overwhelming because
Kickstarter, so many Kickstarters for board games.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's so many Kickstarters for board games. Like, if you don't believe me, go to Target or Walmart and go to like the board game section, and you'll see like, look, when we were kids, what were the staples, right? Like Sorry.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and now there's games. I'm like, why am I taping this board and someone's throwing tacks on my head? That doesn't seem safe. This doesn't seem like a real game.
Did we play a burrito one once?
Yeah,
throw a burrito.
Throw a burrito.
Oh my goodness! See,
that game is fun. That is fun.
It's so short. I feel like the game would end in like 5 minutes.
Candyland. They're totally gonna make like a Candyland movie.
See, Katya, you might
be like
R-rated.
You
might be onto something. Shoots and Ladders, the game.
Yeah,
directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Hey, Del Toro's doing Pinocchio.
That's true. We'll talk about that eventually.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll talk about that next time because I got something good for that one.
Yeah, it looks cool though. I'm excited for it.
Let's just have every major company just buy up everything. It seems like it's working out great so far.
Yeah, we'll see.
Podcasts are going to be next. They're going to make
hope so.
podcast movies.
I hope we get bought out. Honestly, like I hope
okay
so.
with that.
All I ask is that Michael B. Jordan does not play me in our podcast movie. That's all I ask.
What?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that'd be a
AJ.
hard ask, man.
No, because I look like the black guy from Star Wars, the new one.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm always
yeah, I forgot his
Boyega.
name. Yeah, John
John
Boyega.
Boyega.
Yeah.
I like
If you're
him.
John Boyega, then I think Josh. What if you got to be the
Oscar
guy who's-
Isaac
Yeah, Oscar Isaac.
Actually, yeah, because he's
and
Guatemalan.
Alex can be Kyla, just because we need
You
that
can be
balance.
I
Kylo
can be
Ren.
Adam Driver.
That's pretty cool.
Wait,
I do
that's
have
actually
a thing for Adam
I love
Driver,
it.
so that fits.
Yes, it's perfect.
And I can be
That's pretty
Ray.
funny.
I'll be Ray. I'll be
Daisy
whatever.
Ridley.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
no,
like it.
your choices are kind of limited, so it was
We'll
either
just-
that
I
or
like
Princess Leia.
I like this. It's a bandwagon Star Wars mashup.
Oh my goodness,
This is
that's gonna be an
perfect.
episode.
What we
Yeah.
never thought we needed. But real quick, Microsoft owns Halo, right?
Microsoft still
Yeah.
owns Halo.
Yeah, they own
Because-
the IP of Halo.
Because then they're gearing up for a big year between that and then their whole acquisition. We talked about this previously with Activision Blizzard. Again, we're seeing monopolies here.
The great consolidation of video
Yeah.
games.
Which
Yeah.
again, we talked about this. Like the government does not understand how any of this works.
They
So
don't. Yeah,
this-
old
this
people
deal will
have
go
no idea
through.
what's going on. It will go through.
This will go through, and then the whole thing with
Yeah.
Sony acquiring Bungie, that's going to go through.
You saw, like, a lot of people are saying that it's a bad call, which like it could be, but you saw why it was so much money, right?
Because we live in an
Sony-
era. We live in an era where there are more TV shows than ever before.
No, but also like Sony spent most of their money on Bungie's current employees, like to not get them to leave.
No. I know that, but
Oh.
what they're looking for, what they want from Bungie is the IP to make either movies or TV shows of.
You think
Of
so?
what, Destiny and
No,
Mist?
that's what they said.
What else do
Yeah,
they
that's
have?
what they said.
Really?
Do they have
You guys,
anything else
Bungie-
besides those?
You guys, Bungie has been trying to make a Destiny TV show happen for a very long time.
I would watch that.
And part of the terms of the condition of this Sony Blizzard, I guess you call it acquisition, is that Bungie has to retain 100% autonomy from Sony. Something that has
What?
actually, if any of our listeners are economists, like let us know. But I don't know if has that happened before? Has a company ever bought another company and then they said, okay, that's cool. Give us your money, but don't give us your input.
That's
Like, so that's now disclaimer that is applicable to Destiny 2. As
Okay.
Alex said, a lot of that money was to retain their staff. So that does not exclude whatever IPs they branch out to, right? But for Destiny specifically, they've mentioned that they want to, help Bungie. They want to pull that into other media because, hey, you know what? We talk about all the time. Microsoft is just leveraging their resources with their giant pools of money. Well, Sony has resources too. It may not be as big, but they're one of the biggest movie studios in the world. So yeah, I can see that happening.
I know.
Yeah.
I live down the street from Sony, and if you walk behind their building and have to like turn onto certain roads, they literally have like 6 blocks of Culver City, and it's so frustrating because like you can't cut over side streets
You gotta
because
walk
it would just
around.
go through Sony's lot, and
think you
like
should
when you're
say
trying
something
to
to
like.
them.
When you're trying to go across it, it's just like Ghostbusters Afterlife, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm like, it's been out for so long. Like, chill out. There's
They
other
want you to
movies
know.
watch.
That's wild.
But something else that I think, just from, this, hey, tinfoil hat time, putting it on. If you think about it, Sony, I think, is probably the only major studio without a streaming service. I think that's why they acquired Crunchyroll. I think that's why they're acquiring Bungie. I think they're trying to find out, okay, we need to make not only a streaming service, but it has to differ from Disney Plus, from Amazon. And so I think their route is like, well, we got Spider-Man, we got anime, we got video games. Let's get it done. You know what I mean? I think it's smart.
I didn't like connect all those dots.
And Columbia Pictures,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And Columbia.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, exactly under the Sony umbrella.
They've got
want
enough.
they want to enter that space because they haven't. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think that they don't have a streaming service still, but
Well, and Netflix is going to make an attempt of breaking into video games at some point. So
we'll
I
talk
could
about
see-
that
I
another
remember
time.
I could see
yeah.
Sony
Yeah.
waiting to see how it works with Netflix.
Yes.
kind of
I
pulling
agree.
the Apple move of like, let's have someone else trial and error it, and then just like
I
make a
agree.
better product of the same
I
thing
agree.
later on. Tinfoil hat is now taken off. Cool.
No, I'm keeping mine on.
I always have mine on.
Kate, where's your tinfoil hat?
Right. Currently, it has some non-bread inside of it.
Moist.
That's
Sounds
some
so
real
good.
foil for our listeners, right there.
Naan is some good bread. That's all I gotta
Ordered
say,
some
guys.
takeout, so my
That's so
tinfoil
good.
hat is currently holding the bread, but I'll put it on afterwards.
Oh yeah. What else we got, guys?
Speaking about money and sales, I know Alex and I have been reading the Superman Son of Kal-El series.
Okay.
It's so
Kate
good.
and AJ, I don't know. Do you guys know anything about that series?
Just for, other than only from what we talk about on the shows. Yeah,
Agreed.
And also, I think the only other thing I know is that this is still part of like the big picture, right? The big 52. So does this take place
that's old.
It's not.
Yeah.
No,
is it really?
Is it
52.
Prime?
No.
Is it Primer?
Oh,
Is that what they call it now?
There was New 52, then there was Rebirth, and now there's
Rebirth.
Future State. Wait, is it Future
I'm-
State?
I'm-
Infinite
I'm
Frontier?
behind
Whatever. I
still.
can't remember what it's
Oh,
called.
Yeah,
now.
it's you're a little behind.
I'm an
I
old
think-
man.
I've never been a fan of Superman. I know I've mentioned this before, but like I think Kal-El is a lot cooler. I don't know. It's like it's got me interested in Superman right now, and
I think
hope
Superboy is a better superhero than Superman.
That's a horrible name for a character. Superboy.
It is, but it's more compelling because he's not as strong and he's got.
Yeah.
I don't know.
hands.
That's why I'm just like Kal-El. He's got a cool name. They don't have to call him like Super Son or something.
Son of Kal-El.
Son of Kal-El.
Or are you talking about Superman's name is Kal-El?
I don't know what I'm
Wait,
talking
I thought
about.
Kal-El was his dad's name.
Kal-El is Clark Kent.
Kal-El is
Wait, what's Superman's dad's name?
Jor-El.
Oh, holy cow! Yeah,
My mind's
Superman
blown.
sucks, man.
Well,
I'm
then
sorry.
what's the name
You
of
know what?
the son of Kal-El?
Superman Son of Kal-El is about Jonathan Kent, the son of Clark Kent.
And he
What's-
doesn't
what's
have
his
like a
name?
what's his super name?
He's half
Kal-El?
human, so he's just Jonathan
Kal-El?
Kent.
So he didn't get to have a
He didn't
special
get like
name.
a cool name.
That's
He
pretty
didn't,
sad.
he didn't
He
get a
might have
Superman.
one, and I
He
just
didn't
don't
get a
know.
Poel.
he didn't get a Kryptonian bat mitzvah. That's crazy.
You know what? Tom Taylor, get on our podcast and argue with us. Defend it. Why didn't you give him a cool name?
Fix this.
Yeah, write a series
You
about his
owe
bat
this
mitzvah.
to
I would
us.
love that.
You
You
owe
know?
this to. Okay, you know what? This is a perfect segue because Tom Taylor is a masterclass on how to deal with like trolls and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because as many of you know, and we discussed this on the podcast, Jonathan Kent is bisexual.
Mhm.
And obviously, because of the world that we live in, a lot of people are not happy about this. And so there's that. There's the fact that he's concerned with immigration and the climate change. So you have this mob of people who are like, oh, I hate SJWs. Tom Taylor's an SJW. He's ruining Superman. It's like, pause.
It's not even
this
about
is a different
Superman.
Character. So let's make that
It
clear.
has almost nothing to do with
also-
Superman.
He's also
Superman
a teenager.
leaves. He literally leaves the universe of the
Right.
series. He's not even in
Right.
it. Like
Oh,
it's a
and-
whole separate thing.
To backtrack real quick, this conversation's going everywhere. I used to be a Superman hater until I read Superman Red and Blue,
Okay.
and that really changed my perception of him. John Ridley did some writing for it. It very much, to me, like humanizes Superman. So I'm definitely a Superman fan now. But I used to hate him because I was a Batman fan. So just want to throw it out there real quick. But anyways,
I'll give him a shot.
yeah, and I've heard
check it
Action
out.
Comics, like the current Superman solo series, is really good. So when that hits trade, I'm definitely picking that up. Going back to Son of Kal-El and Tom Taylor, he has, he's not shied away from addressing all the hate and vitriol that's out there. It's hilarious. He gets DMs. He got this one where this guy's like, how dare you make Superman gay? You're going to burn in hell and die or whatever like that. And Tom
Jeez.
Taylor's response was, hey, FYI, I just made a donation in your name to an LGBTQ organization.
That's awesome.
Stuff like that. Anytime
pretty
someone
good.
like sends him hate mail, he'll make a donation to this one organization in their name.
I guess
That's
I just
so
don't
cool.
understand. I don't understand why someone else can enjoy something and you don't have to enjoy something. I don't understand this theory that like
Don't know.
if someone's doing something you don't like Well, you know what? I say
Have you ever
this
listened to
does
Childish
happen.
Gambino? Because of the internet.
Because of the internet. I mean, I was going to give the analogy. It'd be the equivalent of someone having a party and you being upset. Just you don't even know your neighbor. You just see them having a party, but that does happen. So I guess people are just crazy. People are. I just don't understand why can't those people enjoy what they're doing. Why does that have to affect you? If people are reading his comic, they're reading his. You don't have to read it. I don't understand it. It's just. What are they afraid they're going to be gay by reading this? Like it will transition from the pages. It's like it's like my favorite episode of Seinfeld when George feels weird about getting a massage from a male masseuse, and he feels some movement, so he thinks maybe I'm gay now. Like that's how they're acting. Like they'll be gay because they read it. I don't know.
Right. And like, I think one of the wildest takes I saw on the internet recently was if saying a story is not for you is a weak argument, it just means that the story wasn't good. It's like, no, that's not what that means. It means it's not for you, for your enjoyment.
I don't read Agatha Christie. I'm not sitting here bashing her work. I just don't care for that story. What does that have to do with anything?
It doesn't. It's a very self-centered worldview.
So everything they've ever read, watched, or played, they had to enjoy it. Otherwise, it was bad. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether they play RTS games and they're playing Madden. They have to enjoy Madden, even though they know nothing. I mean, that logic is stupid. That logic is silly.
And that's unfortunately that person at least had the guts to like say that out loud or quote unquote out loud on the internet. Sure. Most people won't admit that. They won't admit that they want to have everything enjoyable to themselves. Case in point, there's a series called Red Room. It's this limited series, and it's about these dark web torture videos, like snuff videos. And it's like a really dark, messed up series. It's not for me, but I've heard that the writing is good and the story's compelling. I'm never going to read it. I'm not going to bash it. It wasn't written for me.
Yeah, man. I don't know, dude. It's just the internet. But I mean, we're doing a show for the internet, and I always laugh about this. And I always know that, we're going to get, especially because of the topics we talk about, we're going to get people who bash us. And it's fine, and that's fine. Like, it is what it is. You take it on the chin and you move on. But at the same time, it's like, if you don't like our podcast, or if you don't like John Clark or Kent?
Yeah, Kent.
John Kent series of comics, like, why do you have to, like, just
don't read
move
it
on.
Or don't listen.
Think about this. The internet is designed for me to engage in what I want to engage in. So why do you care what someone else engages? That makes no sense.
I know.
You drive yourself crazy for no reason. It's so weird.
Well, and the other thing is people run their mouth. Anonymity and a keyboard gives people, a certain kind of person, a very false sense of bravado.
I'm sure.
Like, yo,
I can see that.
You would not run up to me and say that to my face.
Yeah.
Say that somewhere else because I'm not the one, man.
That's true.
No,
say what
definitely. It's crazy out there. It's a crazy world. Speaking of crazy, who enjoys Lego Star Wars? Any of you played these games?
I love Lego Star Wars.
Yes. OG Lego Star Wars.
You played them? Any of them growing up?
I think everybody likes Legos. And
I don't know who hasn't. I mean, it's like the easiest game to play.
I know. And if it wasn't the Star Wars one,
you start running around. It's awesome.
Yeah, and if it wasn't the Star Wars one, I feel like you played like I think they did like a Marvel one. They did like Indiana Jones.
Everyone
played everything now.
Yeah, everyone played the demos.
Batman. Holy cow.
I feel like these games have always been fun and kind of innocent, and unfortunately, the Skywalker saga, which is coming out soon, I don't remember the date, has went through years and years of development hell. This is like the newest, basically the newest round of gaming culture crunch time. Polygon like did an entire article on just like people like suffering PTSD and like is what they're like referring to it. Tons of people like walking out of the studio, like tons and tons of management change for like a game that I'm just like, it's Lego Star Wars. Like this doesn't need to be that perfect of a game. People just want to like have fun with these, and it's like is it worth going through all of this?
I think what originally happened and why the crunch was so intense, for those who don't know how game development works, like real quick, like you either can in-house your engine to do development, or you can, get licensing. And the most popular one is an engine called Unreal Engine.
Oh, that's
Now, I
right.
don't
They switched
remember.
engines, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember if the old ones used Unreal. I'm like pretty like most of your favorite video games either have or currently do either use Source or Unreal. Those are the two biggest engines. When you in-house your engine, what you lose is the I guess you could say the peripheral control,
because it's almost always a disaster too.
Yeah, it's almost always a disaster because you're literally taking something that can work with anything, and you're building with these very specific set of tools. So as technology gets more complicated, you now have to compensate for that. As a really good example, Bethesda Studios, they've been using this really old engine since I think their inception, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's called the Creation Software or Creation Kit or whatever, something like that. Anyways, long story short, they've had to, one of the reasons why their games take so long to make is because they spend a good amount of time upgrading the engine to then work for the game they need to create. So it's there's a give and take. Whereas something like Apex, which was put together in a relatively short amount of time, it was done because they used the Source engine, an already built engine. They just built a game around the engine and then went along their day. So that's why like Apex can come out with like, that's why Apex can come out with updates. Same thing with Fortnite. Fortnite uses the Unreal Engine, so they can come up with updates so quickly because it's just, it's like plug and play. So that's some insight to why the crunch was necessary.
Well, I thought they just changed game engines to like attempt to save money.
Yeah, but the trade-off is what the article is about, right? That like, they're telling, because game development or game production is all about investors now. It's no longer about making games for people to enjoy. It's how can we make our investors happy? So like with Cyberpunk, with I don't know what EA is doing, but everything EA is doing lately, they're just trying to crank out something to show someone.
Don't work in video games, kids.
Yeah, don't work it. Honestly, that's some good advice.
Maybe
that is some really good advice.
Work in marketing for video games.
until I mean, we talked about this. I think Josh, we talked about this a couple weeks ago about when these studios can, if workers can unionize, then I think that's where you'll see a lot of change in the quality of your game, because that's really the only thing that combat this.
Right now, it's like you were saying, it's about the investors. It's about how much money they can squeeze out of the consumer, and I don't know how to describe it. Other like it, tragic, travesty, messed up, whatever. That the target market is typically children. It's very, very predatory. Yeah. So, and the fact that this is a Lego game just goes to show that it serves the point that it's about making money for the investors and getting as much money out of these kids as possible.
Speaking of making money for the investors, isn't there a whole little thing going on with Spotify?
Okay, Spotify, like there will always be something going on with Spotify. You can't have unlimited access to the internet's music for $10 a month and not have some sort of issue at some point. And I say that as somebody who does use Spotify.
Same here.
It's very problematic, and it always will be. Like, but that's a whole other conversation.
I've been using Spotify since like 2012, but it's just like it's just getting crazy. It's like Spotify's only had podcasts I think under a couple years at this point, and to me it sounded like an awesome idea, but it seemed to have caused like almost nothing but negative backlash. I just find it interesting because it's like, for a lot of people who don't know, like Joe Rogan got signed to Spotify last year for an insane amount of money, and he's been basically saying a bunch of false narratives against like COVID vaccines. And due to this, like Neil Young removed his music from Spotify. Joni Mitchell followed along, and then Graham Nash pulled it, which I find hilarious because it's just like, oh, our boy Neil Young, like we're not with you anymore, but we're gonna still remove our stuff. We're gonna like tag team. I thought they all hated each other, but maybe
I think
Maybe they
also
don't.
not just Nash, but I think all of Crosby, Stills, and Nash removed their music too.
Oh, all of it?
I think all
Wow.
three guys, yeah.
Because like Neil Young used to be with
But it
them,
used to be
so
Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, yeah.
yeah. And then who's this other artist that pulled? How do you say her
There's
name?
an artist named India Ari,
India
and she's
Ari, yeah.
India Ari, and she's a R&B artist, and she like recently announced as well, and has been getting a lot of publicity from it as well.
Yeah, which is like I see it, and I like honestly I totally get why people are pulling their music because Spotify is obviously gonna like side with the with Joe Rogan because they spent so much money on him and like can't really afford to lose him. But it's like where's the line draw? Like are artists gonna start pulling for like musicians like writing the false narratives and stuff? Like I'm just kind of surprised that it's only happening in like the podcast space, you know? And we haven't seen it through songs to my knowledge.
Yeah, I think it's because music
Yeah.
can be so subjective, whereas like the stuff he says on like what you say on a podcast, like for us, like it's a little bit more black and white. Obviously, there's like nuance and different context or whatnot. But like with Joe Rogan, like it's pretty like blatant what he's saying.
Yeah, no, I see that, especially when he brings people on.
And I think specifically this is being fueled by the revelation that he's used the N-word in the past. And that's probably like the biggest component to why, like, at least specifically in India Ari like pulled out her music from Spotify. But I think I'm going to say something. This is going to sound a little controversial. So putting my tinfoil hat back on, in my personal opinion, I think this is a hit job. I think it's a little bit timely that videos of Joe Rogan singing the N-word come out on Black History Month.
Oh, for sure.
Come out after a period of time where you have all these artists who feel like he's spewing misinformation. And I'm not here to argue the semantics. I'm just saying that's why artists are pulling their stuff out. And this whole idea of the N-word being used and what he says is context. I'm not going to get into that. That's a long conversation we don't have time for. However, I will say that you can only judge someone for what they do now, what they do today. A lot of what people have issues with, maybe aside, again, I'm not going to get to semantics, but let's say the bulk of the things that that people have issues with Joe Rogan for are, if you remember, it wasn't even for things that he said initially. It was that he engaged in conversation with people that Spotify employees didn't really agree with, right? Context is so important. So this whole thing started because they felt like there are episodes with people who, for one reason or another, they don't want to hear that voice, whatever. And now you're seeing, when you really like put nuts to butts about it, like the only misinformation thing that Joe Rogan has really spewed is his views on COVID, which he has already then apologized for, I think sometimes we are so ready to grab the pitchforks that we forget that we're people too. Because a lot of the people, at least from what I see on Twitter, are a lot of white people who are upset about this. And I just want you to know, when your black friends aren't around, can you say you've never used the N-word? It's a conversation we'll have for another time.
We're all just going to stay muted.
I'm just letting you know. If you've ever listened to a rap song, you're already disqualified. Even if you said it under your breath, even if you thought the word, if you omitted the word, okay. I'm just trying to present a point. Okay, just because someone did something doesn't mean they have to be crucified for it. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not for Joe Rogan. I'm not against Joe Rogan. Quite frankly, I don't give a damn. I'm just trying to present a point that sometimes we got to chill with this whole let's end someone's life because of something they did one time, or they did something in the past. We all, I used to work with a guy when I worked at Smashburger, and I found out he was convicted of murder when he was 15 years old.
What?
He is the sweetest man I've ever met in my life. And I, to be quite honest with you, I didn't look at him any different because I knew what type of man he was. What he did in his past is not fair for me to then judge him on what he does now and going forward. So I'm gonna get off my. I'm gonna take my tinfoil hat off. I'm gonna get off my pedestal. Thank you.
I still think artists have the right to pull stuff if they're not comfortable with people on their platform. I was just more curious. I'm just more curious.
That's what America's for, man.
Yeah, I'm just more curious of like, are other artists going to pull over other podcasts or other musicians? Like, I feel like this is going to open a can of worms with that.
It is. I agree.
What'd you say?
Artists are also upset. They're also not paid as well. I think that was the other hard thing, is seeing he gets this great contract and all this money, and then artists are still making 0.0001 of a penny.
Different. The money's different. It's not different. You know what I mean? Why don't you think so?
Well, tell me how you think it's different. Like, why should a podcaster get paid more than a musician?
A podcaster is more independent. A musician, I mean, how many of those musicians even own their masters?
No, they have no negotiating. The payout rate should be the same, though. Oh, that's what I mean. Like, if the artist
stream is a stream.
Yeah, how the artist splits it, it's different.
But Joe Rogan's money was given to him it's an exclusivity deal. It's not per stream. You know what I'm saying? The $100 million he got is for the exclusive rights to that podcast. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see it.
It's a little. The money's different. Spotify paid to have him and no one else. You know what I mean?
I think artists are going to start dropping though in order to get those type of deals, like a big artist like Drake or Taylor Swift.
But I would also make I was just about to say I would make the argument that Taylor Swift tried and failed.
True, yeah,
right.
That was pretty recently, right?
She pulled all her music from Spotify, and they went back and forth a long time. And she, I think that was kind of relented.
There was an issue with the Scooter Braun guy.
That was a little different. She had issues with her masters.
Yeah, but she also had issue with the payout as well. That was also one of the complaints she had lobbied, that like the payout wasn't fair. And I agree with them. Yeah, I'm on their side. I agree with you guys. The payout is
that was challenging though, for the fact that like I think it was hard to like sort of deal with her when her masters were being negotiated with Scooter Braun. Right. I think now what she's doing is genius because she's re-releasing all of her albums, re-recording.
I expect more people to do that. 100%
masters. And I could see her in like 10 years then pulling and then having it renegotiated for those tracks, because I think some of those are becoming more popular than the original recordings at this point.
Well, I mean, yeah, because she's putting them back in your face. You know what I mean? It's genius. And I'm with you guys. Like, I want artists to get paid more. We still haven't found a solution, because I think what Josh said is 100% hitting the nail on the head, that you're charging $10 for unlimited music. That doesn't make any sense, right? And now you're seeing those prices being turned back to you in the form of like, $200 ticket, like concert ticket prices, or like $150 shirt. It's just like, it's insane where they're trying to recoup that money from. But
everything's changed with how you purchase music from an artist.
Yeah,
I'm just sad I can't listen to Joni anymore.
I know.
At least I have some of her stuff on CD. That's all.
I'll go buy a CD and I'll burn the waves for you.
Let's bring CDs back. That's what I want.
Wow. I just realized there's probably so many people that listen and they're like, what does burning a wave mean? Like, I'm not even going to explain it. Just Google it.
CD? Yeah. That's okay. I guess I'll go to my bank.
We have a wave burning party with Joni Mitchell. Tell everybody.
It's funny. Jeez, dude. That's funny. What else we got, guys?
Mouse. Have you guys read Mouse?
Is that the
graphic novel?
The graphic novel? No. I know of it. I've never read it myself, but I know of it.
Sorry, Alex, have you read it?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay. Kate, have you read it?
Never heard of it.
Oh,
okay. Wait. Is this the thing? You know what? Now you're sparking my memory. I feel like I did see something. Isn't this have like, there's people in masks? Is that a thing? Or no?
They're mice.
They're mice. So it's written by Art Spiegelman. It won it's won multiple awards. I think Eisner, Pulitzer, and all that goodness. And It's about his father's experience of the Holocaust, and it's done in comic format. And the Nazis and the Jews are shown as cats and mice, and then there's a few, maybe like one or two other animals too. And recently, a school board in Tennessee voted 10-0 to remove it from the curriculum. And I think it's harder to kind of convey why I think this is significant if you haven't read it. But their argument was it's an inappropriate way to teach about the Holocaust because of, I forgot what wording they use, because of the language that's in it. And there's like one scene where there's a naked woman at one point. There's like one, for like a single panel, I think. No, it's I think it's an actual human. I think the flashbacks, because I haven't read it in a while, but I do believe there's like the main story of like what's going on in the Holocaust, and there's also like little glimpses of the author and his father, like their relationship, and I think those moments are done with actual people. Could be totally wrong. I have not read it in a long time.
Okay.
But anyways, the school board voted that this is not an appropriate thing to have in their curriculum. And many people are upset about this, to the point where you see bookstores giving away free copies. You see people. It was the number one like graphic novel on Amazon.
That's awesome.
It still probably is right now.
So it's a graphic novel, not a written novel.
Correct. Graphic novel.
Okay. So they have these in schools? This is like a curriculum as graphic novels nowadays?
I think the library, right?
Yeah, so they don't want to have it in the library, and they don't want teachers to be using it.
Novels at school before.
Yeah. Right. And like one of my coworkers, they used what's his name? George Takei's They Call This Enemy.
Oh, yeah.
Is about his experience of being a Japanese American and being put into internment camp, which, if you're unaware of, like that is something the U.S. government did, was they took all the Japanese Americans and took them from their homes, their businesses, they lost everything, and they had to kind of sit in these concentration-looking camps during the war.
Remember we drove by one of the old ones in California? It was only like 2 hours from Los Angeles. Like, that's crazy.
Wow.
And allegedly, after the war was over, people wanted to destroy those camps to be like, hey, this never happened.
Yeah, remember that one was being like fought to be preserved?
Right. And so, again, like that in itself shows how important it is to make sure these things are known. Because as the cliche but true saying goes, those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it.
That is very true.
And Tennessee has chosen, they're not saying you can't get it from the library, but my argument is if you don't have this in your school library, a lot of people, a lot of kids, their worldview is strongly influenced by what they are taught in school. And so to take away the possibility of them reading this, I think is detrimental.
Yeah, and why this specifically? Where there I mean, it is one footnote in a larger picture, right? It's such a big picture. I just kind of feel like it's a weird thing to zero in on, and I feel like this is, I hope I'm using the word correctly, but I feel like this is just grandstanding, trying to like make a stand in the what do they call it, like the critical race theory,
critical race theory,
whatever that is. I feel like they're trying to make a stand, because I feel like to omit one small picture, like small part of a bigger picture, I feel like you're just making a show. This is not the only thing you can find that references, the Holocaust, and there are much more. I mean, if a teacher really wants to use something else, they will find something else. So I just don't understand what's being achieved by censoring this book, this graphic novel. Like what's really being achieved?
Like, I remember learning about the Holocaust, like we see in archive footage. Like, because I was talking to somebody on YouTube about this, and they were very much saying like, this isn't a big deal. Like this is okay.
Sure.
And I'll give this guy credit. Like, he at least was presenting his argument in a very like civil way.
Sure.
And I eventually told him like, hey, like we're going to agree to disagree on this. But as somebody who works in education, like I've seen how effective it can be to use a graphic novel to teach something.
Yeah.
Especially like this. And like, it's not like you're just going to like, boom, throw it on the kids. With something like the Holocaust, like you send letters to the parents, you let them know what kind of criteria, like what's going to be in the story.
Subject matter. Yeah.
Yeah. What the subject matter is going to be. Like you have a very nuanced discussion lead into it. And I think that's a good way to explore the topic without actually traumatizing a kid by showing them, you know, piles of dead
actual bodies. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's how I learned about it.
I went to the Holocaust Museum, I think, in like 7th grade. Like that's a pretty big thing to do.
The one in Skokie? In Illinois?
DC.
Okay. Yeah, there's a big one in Skokie in Illinois.
There's a big one in Skokie.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one. The Washington, D.C. one is pretty huge, too.
Yeah.
Sad.
And so, I don't know. It to me... like,
but important.
Yeah. Exactly. It's important. This is an important subject, and to deem it inappropriate is wrong. Sure, like if you don't want a 6-year-old to read it, fine. But there are at least 2 high schools in this school district that made this decision.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
A 16-year-old is perfectly capable of learning about this.
Yeah,
they probably.
They've seen worse.
I agree.
Hopefully, they know about the Holocaust before they're 16.
Right.
But, you know.
Right.
It reminds me that when EA when they made Battlefield 5, they didn't want to reference. They didn't want to offend anybody, so they didn't put a swastika in in the game. Which is, when you think about it, like that's you made a video game about World War II. How do you not?
It's like offensive to censor it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, yes, there were good guys, quote unquote, and bad guys, quote unquote. But like, the Nazi flag is there. That's the flag. Like, you can't pretend that it doesn't exist. It was there. Like, can you imagine reading a history book and you're seeing like, all the Nazis and they're just standing in front of like a giant, like empty blank flag? That would look weird. Like that happened. How do you make a game that's referencing real historical events and you're trying to pay homage to these people who gave their lives? And you're just like, yeah, we got to admit, like, we don't want to use words like, or
I think because I don't want people
German,
to feel uncomfortable.
Or enemy, or we can't. That's a waste of time, man.
Yeah,
that's
people still need to learn history.
I think
that's my point.
They don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah. I agree with both of you.
History is uncomfortable. That is the unfortunate reality, though. And you'd be surprised by what some textbooks say. I have looked through, working in school, I've looked through some textbooks that very interesting how they're written and how things are worded. And that's a whole other conversation.
That's a different conversation.
It's important to know these things. And again, censorship is a very slippery slope because before you know it, you're looking like China, which is notorious for, not only making people disappear, creating work camps for minorities, but also censoring media.
Yeah.
China censorship? What?
Yeah, right. Who would have thought? Who would have thought the communist government in China would censor things? Allegedly. Yeah.
I mean, that's what they do, though. They that's how the what do they call it? The Great Wall, right? That's how they filter like all the things that the people over there see. It's not surprising.
This one's wild though. Like you guys seen
Fight Club censorship?
Fight Club? Have you guys seen Fight Club?
Yes.
Okay.
I've seen all of it except for like the last 30 minutes, which I've heard is the best part.
That blows. That's when you told me that blew my mind.
God, what are you saying right now? You missed the movie then.
Yeah, like
you didn't
literally
watch the
just
movie.
Quit.
You watched a movie about 2 dudes going crazy. That's what you watched. Oh my goodness.
I just don't understand. I will never understand.
I was like 17 years old. My sister and I said, you know what? Everyone talks about this movie. Let's watch it. We're watching it. We're like, it was almost unbearable. We could not stand how boring the movie was. We hated it. We had like 30 minutes left and we were like, this kind of sucks. Let's just stop watching it. So we stopped.
Can we just kick Kate off right now?
I know.
Wow. I don't know,
I'd say
man.
This is the thing people hate me the most about is my lack of the.
Well, it's not that you don't like the movie; it's that you quit 30 minutes before it ended.
You missed the M. Night Shyamalan twist to the movie. So that'd be like watching Sixth Sense and not getting to the end. So you just think it's about Bruce Willis hanging out with some 6-year-old kid. Like,
But even that sounds more entertaining. I would watch that. I would watch 2 hours of Bruce Willis and a kid just hanging out.
We're all watching Fight Club with Kate at this point, and
That's
then
pretty
Bruce
funny.
Willis hanging out with the kid.
Put toothpicks
So
in
what
my
happened?
eyes to keep them open.
What happened with Fight Club, Josh?
As you know, minus Kate, at the end of Fight Club, all those buildings explode.
Mhm.
And
Just spoil it. You can spoil it.
And it kind of alludes to the fact that like I guess you call it like a revolution is happening.
Revolution. Yeah.
Working class
And Where
revolution.
Is My Mind is playing by the Pixies.
Yes. Well, in China, allegedly, the ending is a little bit different. Just before the buildings are about to explode, you get a title, like a screen with some writing on it. And on the screen, it says that thanks to some tips, the police are able to find all the bombs, dismantle them all before any of them blow up. Everybody involved gets arrested. Tyler goes to jail, and he goes to a they don't even call it like a mental health facility. They use a different word. And he goes
to camp.
Yeah, right. He goes through treatment, and he gets released, I believe, in 2012. That's how it ends in China.
Wow, that's a bad ending.
That's
Because
so bad.
they thought the actual ending, that the ideas portrayed in that ending would be harmful to society, and so that's why they decided to rewrite the ending of Fight Club.
I can't believe that, like, I don't know what studio has Fight Club, but I can't believe they let that happen.
They don't have a choice. China is notorious for doing stuff like this.
Well, no, I mean the choice is to just not have the movie available in China.
That money though, man, it's all about that money. They want that money.
That's true.
I thought you were kidding when you said villains explode, but apparently that's the real ending.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna tell you right now. The movie's been out for like 22
Just
years.
spoil it.
It's okay. You can say it.
Brad Pitt's character is the main character. It's the same guy. They're the same person.
Uh-huh.
You realize that he is suffering from, I guess, an early form of DID, where he thinks like the scenes where he's like being tougher, I guess you could say, that's Brad Pitt's character, psyching him up, basically. Brad Pitt's character is not real. He's in his head, basically. That's the twist.
I'm more just worried about these exploding people. I'll just have to watch
Well,
it.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch the movie. You gotta have to watch the movie.
I'll make.
Yeah.
We'll have a Fight Club night.
Just don't watch it in
Fight
China.
Club
Oh,
date night.
wait, what? You're gonna
the buildings
Wait, hold on.
explode.
Are you
the
gonna
people.
watch Fight Club?
You know
or are
what?
you going to
That's-
fight?
That's for Kate to find out.
Oh,
It's a
jeez.
mystery.
The building exploded. I thought you said villains exploding.
Building.
No.
No, building.
Oh my goodness. Well, can I lighten the mood, guys?
Yeah.
Just like I
Please.
said.
Please do.
Let me put a ray of sunshine in this dark, cloudy day. You guys remember Joe Exotic?
Yes.
Oh yes, I remember.
He
I
always
got
brightens up a
great
room.
news. I got great news for you Joe Exotic fans. For those who don't know who the Tiger King is, Netflix at the start of the pandemic released a documentary about a redneck gay crack addict tiger wrangler, meth addicted like tiger wrangler who is part of this like giant like ring of just like tiger. I don't even know what you call it, like tiger traffic.
owners?
There are more tigers in the United States than anywhere else in the world. And specifically, I think it's like three or four states where there's a higher concentration of tigers than anywhere else in the world. It's so crazy. In the documentary, they reveal that he's for every hero there's a rival, there's an arch nemesis. And Joe Exotic's arch nemesis is none other than a Carol Baskins, who is I guess you can call it like an animal conservatist.
She's like a sanctuary, animal sanctuary.
Yeah, she has an animal sanctuary. She likes to save animals. So naturally, her natural enemy is Joe Exotic, who gets these animals for profit. Right. I'm not going to get into all the crazy stuff Joe's done. Go watch the season 1 of the documentary. You can skip season 2. It's basically garbage, but season 1 is great.
I forgot season 2 existed.
We all forgot. But season 1 is great. So in the ending of this incredible tale is these two enemies, go back and forth. Carol sues Joe Exotic, and maybe he was high on meth. I don't know. He decided to try to hire a hitman to take her out. So that's why he's in jail right now. He was found guilty of trying to hire a hitman, attempted murder, and he was sentenced to 22 years in prison.
Oh, not that long.
He thought. He's like what 60, so I mean, like he's good. Yeah, he just has to hang on. But he feels like he's been wronged, and he felt like he was, he felt like he was portrayed, in a bad light. On top of that, he became more famous in prison than he was in real life. So I don't know what he was thinking, but he asked for, I guess, a retrial, and he got it. And you know what? The judge is like, Joe, you're right. We gave you too much time, so they took off a year off his sentence. So now he only has to serve a 21-year sentence.
Wow. Hey, that might be the best year. The best year of his life.
Wow, so kind of the judge. I'm like, I kind of just feel like the judge is just not engaged in the farce that is Joe Exotic. So the judge is like, yeah, man, you know what? We'll give you less time. 365 days. I could do that much. I saw a meme that was making fun of Joe Exotic, and it was saying that like the judge was the guy from Pawn Stars. And then he's like, the best I could do is 21 years.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's the best I could do. I also wanted to, speaking of jail, as our listeners may not know, my wife and I are huge fans of 90 Day Fiance. Maybe I'll try to incorporate some like 90 Day Fiance stuff because it's the funniest show ever. Do you guys watch 90 Day Fiance?
Still never seen
nope.
it.
I'm good.
But I thought you were going to say that.
What, that I was in it?
I thought you were going to say that you and your wife were big fans of jail.
Yeah, or that you went to jail.
Huge fans of jail. We're there jail. Every week. Yeah, pro jail, man. Huge fans of jail. For those who don't know, 90 Day Fiance is a wild reality TV show where people exploit our immigration process by, just through marriage. If you marry or engage someone who's not in this country, you have 90 days to bring them over to America and get married if you're engaged. So they can be here on what they call a K-1 visa. And I think the stipulations is you just have to get married, and boom, your significant other can be an American or come to America. So that's what the show is about. It started off like a sweet, like, look at these two people across the world who found love, and it's just turned into a hot mess. One of the stars on the show, he recently was sentenced to 18 years in jail. I think for like, I think it was a collection of charges. I think something along the lines of like kidnapping and some type of assault. The short answer is this guy who was on 90 Day Fiance. In the middle of the show, they had to take him off the show. And so I think a lot of people who were watching the show were like, well, what happened to, this man, Joffrey, and his significant other? I think her name is Vara. It's Russian. So if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm sorry. They're trying to figure out what happened. It turns out TLC found out that this man is being charged with like sexual assault. So they immediately cut this guy, off the show. And now, we will continue to talk about 90 Day Fiance in the future, but this is not the first time something like this has happened. I don't know why they've had such a hard time with their vetting process, but I feel like that's something pretty easy to find, because when you Google his name before, now that he's been charged or sentenced, I should say, you could find like the court, like, whatever, the police record of the incidents, whatever.
Yeah.
So you would think that during the background check process, someone would have found that.
Some poor casting director is not doing so hot.
Not having a good day. But I think the only reason I wanted to talk about this is because the funniest thing about this thing is that this guy was using his 90 Day Fiance clout. This guy is such a weird dude. Like, I think he's from like Kentucky, if I remember correctly. He's got like 7 baby mamas or something.
Oh, that's it?
It's so weird. Like, I don't understand how this man is getting so many women. He's not a very I don't know. I don't see the charisma, but maybe other people do. It's just such a weird thing. And
maybe the charisma's in the pants.
What?
I mean, it has to be. Where else can it be? Because I don't understand. So you have all these women who are like advocating, like, Joffrey didn't do it. He's innocent. He's such a kind man, or whatever. And the real incident is so crazy. A long story short, I mean, his previous girlfriend, he took her phone. I think he even took her keys and kind of just physically and I think even sexually assaulted her. It's horrible. I'm not going to go into detail.
I don't want anything to do with this guy.
Yeah, and so, now he's saying he didn't do it. And so before they went to trial, the prosecutors and his lawyers, they said, we'll give you a plea deal, man. You just say you did it. You'll just have to serve I think probation, like some community service. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna succumb to the demands of his ex-girlfriend and stuff like that. He went to trial. he messed around. He got 18 years, man. 18 years in prison. Yes. And I think the funniest thing about that is my wife, she loves like murder mystery stuff. Right. I like watching these type of news stories for that are not related to reality TV. But you always learn that take the plea deal. Like whenever one of these things happens, you take the plea deal. You never try to gamble with your life. It's not going to end well, especially when the plea deal is no jail time. It's just say you're sorry and then go home. Like that's the plea deal. That's insane to me.
Yeah, he deserves that.
Lesson learned.
Lesson really learned. Yeah. And I personally like that the judge threw the book at him because he's kind of an a-hole. He is kind of an a-hole. So I'm glad the judge threw the book at him because honestly, you don't take the plea deal. Yeah, man, screw you. That's crazy. That is so nuts, man. Got anything else, guys?
We got some casting leaks. I've heard.
What's up? For what?
So lots of comic book goss. Mm-hmm. Sony has, or the Sonyverse, whatever you want to call it, has a potential new character hero, whatever you want to call it. Dakota Johnson has been cast as Madam Web.
Dakota
50
Johnson.
Shades of Grey.
Oh, the girl.
Wait. Who's Madam Web? Is that the chick that when Peter goes to the other dimension?
So that's where it gets a little confusing and I wonder if they did this on purpose. There's, I believe, 2 Madam Webs. The first one, and the one people are most familiar with, is this elderly woman who, if you watch the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, she had this weird red suit and she sat in this chair and then she was psychic and stuff.
I remember.
Yeah, she's like a clairvoyant type character. I don't know. I believe she's blind. Maybe. I don't know if she's used to her legs too.
I think she is blind. I think you're right about that.
Right. I think that's part of the trade off of the powers is you go blind.
Yeah.
So obviously people are like, how is Dakota Johnson supposed to play the senior citizen? But if you dig a little bit in, if you're not a huge comic reader, you probably don't know this, but there is another Madam Web who is significantly younger. So I'm wondering if that's where they're going to go with this.
That could be cool. Or maybe she somehow shape shifts, or she changes ages and turns into two different people.
What does she do? What is her powers?
She is a psychic type of character, but it also is. It just depends on the version you're working with. Okay. But very much is in tune with the cosmic happenings and stuff with Spider-Man.
So is this is this casting supposed to be for a main character, or is she just one of the allies of Spider-Man, that kind of thing?
I don't know, but because it's from Sony, I kind of don't care, to be honest. Because Venom 2 and Venom 1, to be honest. So Sony has proven they just don't. Whoever's in charge of the ship there just is not handling it well. So I don't really care about this.
We've talked about it multiple times. I don't know if it's that they're not handling it well. I think it's a well they keep going into. You know what I mean? They keep. I mean, this is our third Spider. I mean, technically speaking, right? You can say this is our 4th Spider-Man reboot with whatever they do with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I mean, it's there's only so much in the well.
So they're doing something right.
Yeah, that is true.
That is true. When you have money like that, you can keep going.
Yeah.
Over on the MCU side, though, they've cast Anne Hathaway as an unreleased role. which is still exciting because she's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, I'd love to see. I'd love to see her.
What do you guys think? Who do you guys think? Bandwagon is hosted by Josh Jimenez,
Catwoman,
Alex
and the Dark Knight
Melgoza,
trilogy.
and me, AJ Soy.
She was on Team
wondering
DC.
who
The
should
show is
be
produced
Marvel.
by Kate Smith and edited by yours truly. Man, what could she be? Our theme song is Lush Waves
Honestly,
by
man,
Taylor
we
Lewin
just got a
of
movie about the
_audio.
Eternals.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.
When you dig that far into the well of the Marvel mythos, she could literally be anybody. And then there's a whole Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness.
What about Doctor Strange?
Well, the premise of the film is about the multiverse, so Anne Hathaway literally could be anybody because of that in itself.
I hope she's like a big character.
Yeah,
I don't know what characters.
She deserves a significant role.
Yeah. I don't know what characters are left in terms of, I guess main.
There's a lot, man.
They could pull an Iron Man. Like Iron Man was nothing until they made him something. So
he was like a C-list character.
Try to make her a popular.
Are there any
character.
X-Men? Are there any X-Men characters she could possibly be?
I mean, technically, there's no X-Men in the Marvel and the MCU.
Well, that's why I'm asking, because if they're in talks of it, it's possible they don't even have like a cast yet.
I don't read enough X-Men to like cast her as somebody in that.
Same.
Because I'd get crucified by actual X-Men fans. So.
she's gonna be Professor Xavier.
That would actually be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know who she'll be. She could be anybody. Okay. Literally anybody. Because Doctor Strange 2, the whole multiverse thing, and there's been a lot of casting rumors and leaks and alleged leaks where we are going to see Reed Richards played by John Krasinski. We're going to see
that's happening?
An Iron Man variant played by Tom Cruise, and just a lot of wild things are going to pop off.
Tom Cruise is going to be in a Marvel movie?
Allegedly, there are leaked screenshots of the cast.
I just feel like everyone's cashing in now.
That's crazy.
Just every actor, all these like amazing legacy actors, everybody just wants to be a Marvel character now. I don't know.
And that's the thing. We joked about this at one point, where like the thing now is to get a comic book role.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
I mean, you look at the Eternals movie, and Angelina Jolie was in there.
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles is in there.
Richard Madden was in it.
He's a comedian. What the heck? Just everybody.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also kind of cool if the John Krasinski thing is if that. I mean, I can see that for Reed Richards, because he was supposed to be, or he auditioned, I should say, to be Captain America. So that is very interesting that they're like, "Hey, man, we need you." That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, pretty excited.
They can do it. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah,
like that's the beauty, but also frustrating aspect of comics, especially the big two. Like you have all this Marvel like multiverse stuff. We're supposedly going to get Professor X, Patrick Stewart back as Professor X. And like we might see Wolverine too. Yeah. We could have Edward Norton as the Hulk again.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
The possibilities, they literally can do whatever they want now.
I just want purple underwear or purple pants Hulk to come back with the terrible CGI. That's all I want.
Yeah, Professor Xavier, I think they need to go with someone younger, because my concern with them using I can't remember the actor's name now. I'm drawing a blank.
But, is it Michael Fassbender?
No, not Michael Fassbender. He played young Magneto,
which he's fantastic.
Like he's great.
James McAvoy. He played the young.
Yes, right. So James McAvoy is way too young to be. Well, I shouldn't say that. He's not way too young. It would have to be a younger X-Men you present to the world if you use James McAvoy. You know what I mean? Like it would have to be a teenager X-Men series, because I feel like you can't have James McAvoy with a bunch of adults.
I would like a teenage X-Men series where we like watch them grow up and then have them continue as adults. If they nailed it right, I think that
I think that could be pretty good.
X-Men First Class. That's when they were teenagers in that.
Right. We don't talk about that. Doesn't exist. We don't we don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about Fox X-Men. Like we don't acknowledge that. They're not. Yeah.
I love that movie.
They don't exist. I know. It was a good movie.
But yeah, out of all that, I think the John Krasinski casting as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, that's what I'm most excited. to possibly see. Again, like this is all speculation and leaks and whatever.
Let's see what happens.
Nope. Guys, Bandwagon has confirmed it. John Krasinski is in the next movie. You heard it here first.
And he's going to interview on the podcast, possibly. So if you keep listening, he'll be there eventually.
He might sound different, but don't worry about it. It's just him.
He might sound like Kate, but that's just how his voice is now. I don't know. It's weird.
Oh man!
And with that, let's get out of here. What say ye?
Yeah, I'll let you.
Yeah,
I'll let you leave it out.
All right, cool. Well, that's it for our show. Thanks for sticking with us through us trying out something different, just talking about current events. If you think we forgot something, let us know, because there's a lot out there right now.
We forgot something.
We forgot something, but you can let us know. If you did like our conversation, though, you can subscribe to the channel, to the podcast, all that goodness, so you can stay up to date on all of our content. If you're on YouTube, you can hit that like button or the dislike button. It's up to you. A lot of you are on Spotify and Apple, so the downloads, the reviews, the ratings really means a lot to us, helps the show to grow, and makes it so more people can hear us. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at The Bandwagon Fan Pod, as well as Facebook and YouTube at The Bandwagon Fan. We also have a Discord linked in our socials. You can find episodes wherever you listen to your other favorite podcasts. Thanks for listening, nerds. We'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
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 Bandwagon is hosted by Josh Jimenez, Alex Melgosa, and me, AJ Soy. Our show is produced by Kate Smith and edited by yours truly. Our theme song is Lush Waves by Taylor Lewin of _audio. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.